Hey there, friend. Welcome to the Having a Mom Moment podcast. I am your host, Shannon Warner. This podcast is all about taking a few moments for yourself and reconnecting to the amazing woman behind the title of mom. You have so many plates spinning at any given time between your kids, your partner, your job, maintaining a household, etc., etc. But where does taking time just for you play into that? Let's spend some time together, you and me, right now. We're rebranding a mom moment to those sacred moments you take to fill your cup first. Let's connect, tune in, and tap into what makes us the incredible women that we are. We'll nurture ourselves first so we can be our best selves for those we pour into on a daily basis. We'll also bask in the beautiful wisdom of other moms to learn about the ways in which they've tapped into alignment in their own motherhood journeys. Come on, mama, it's your time. We're having a mom moment. Hello, my loves. Happy New Year. I hope your holidays were fantastic. I'm still nursing this cold, so apologize for this voice that you're getting right now. This episode is super on theme with New Year and new goals. And if health and fitness is on your mind, you're going to love Tara. And even if it's not, she delivers so much good advice for anybody, for any mom. The things she talks about, you can apply to other areas of your life. So again, even if health and fitness is under control in your world, give this a listen. And Tara's just so fun to talk to. Tara Gosselink is a health and fitness coach for women and founder of the Fit Mum Method. She is Australian based, so M-U-M, mum. As a mother of 3 young boys, she understands firsthand the juggling act that is modern motherhood. She specializes in helping women develop healthy habits and a positive mindset around their bodies and health with a realistic approach that fits into busy schedules. She gets it. As a coach, she specializes in helping women overcome mental barriers and limiting beliefs, developing practical strategies for meal planning, exercise scheduling, and goal setting through building strong habits that last. She believes lasting change comes from within and that developing a healthy relationship with oneself is key to long-term success. I think you're going to love this episode. Let's get right into it. Here's Tara. Hi, Tara. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Hey, Shannon. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited you're here. I love to have my guests start off by sharing a bit about their own motherhood journey. So can we get into yours?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I have 3 boys. They are 8, 6, and 3. And yeah, I honestly thought I was going to be a girl mom going into all of this. I'm quite feminine myself, but since having boys, that's completely changed. And it's now just about, as we were saying before, about wrestling and running around and keeping up with them. And I love it. Like I can't even picture myself being a girl mom now that I have boys. But yeah, I had my first, well, obviously 8 years ago, but he was definitely the hardest, like postpartum. It was a hard birth. Then I had my second, and his birth was really hard, but he was an easier child. And then my third came along, and he was just a dream. Like, I think, but that just comes with motherhood and experience, and you learn to relax a lot more as you go. But yeah, my motherhood journey has, obviously, there's been ups and downs. It hasn't been completely smooth sailing, but yeah, so far so good. And yeah, I love it. I love being a mom.
Oh, so far so good. Yeah, it's
so far so good.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. So can you tell us a bit about who you are and what you do? And I'm excited because, and I'm assuming here, but I've had a lot of women on the podcast who the work that they do today is because of their motherhood transformation. Like they would not be where they are without being a mom. And I'm getting the vibe that that's also your story. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I am the founder of Fit Mum Method. So this is my baby business. I call it my third baby because even though I have 3 kids, it came from my own struggles and my own, I guess, personal journey with trying to lose weight, trying to do it the sustainable way, but doing it the wrong way and doing quick fixes and not understanding how to train effectively and basically trying to juggle all of this whilst raising children. So it wasn't until I learned how to do all of this the right way that it it grew, and I started helping other women. And like you were saying, like it's grown because I've gone through it, and I started helping other women because of what I went through. And then I started getting results and started helping them get results. And then it just organically grew from there. But definitely, I don't think I'd be where I am now if I wasn't a mom and had gone through that, because we were talking before, like motherhood, you change and you grow as you evolve with your children. And it's brought a lot of insight into my own business because I'm going through it. My clients are going through it. And we have to have a lot more patience when we become mothers. And that's something I didn't have before I had kids. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought, I want results now. I need to do this yesterday. Like, why aren't I seeing results? And you get frustrated. But I went into motherhood kind of with the same mentality, but it wasn't until I'd had my children and realized, okay, that's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
That's not just in motherhood, that's in everything, right? In your business, in your relationships, in your friendships. Like, things take time, and you can't see results yesterday. So
Right.
that's sort of my mentality with the whole Fit Mom method approach. Is it is about it's about working with where you're at in your life, but still making progress and not comparing your today with your 5 years ago or your 10 years ago, because
Mm-hmm.
we're all in a different place, and we're going to be in a different place in another 5 years. And we just need to be able to come into our approach in that holistic way where things are going to change. There's going to be obstacles, there's going to be progress, but you have to take each day as it comes and really hone in on the habits and the mindset, and not just how can I, if weight loss is a goal, how can I lose weight really quick, or how can I get stronger really fast? It's like, that doesn't happen anymore for mothers. It is a
Yeah.
slow burn, and you will get there, but you have to have the right approach. So I sort of gone off on a tangent, but that's my method. It's not going to be a one size fits all. You're not going to have the same approach as I am, because we have
Yeah.
different number of children. You know, I don't know your husband does, but we have different lives and different schedules, but we can still get to our goal if we have a personalized approach in our own life.
I mean, I always love things that are geared towards moms, but like a way that is full of integrity, like not like, hey, moms, we know that you're chubby since having a baby, but like, hey, I see you and I know that you want better for yourself. And where can I meet you where you're at? And it's an interesting theme that keeps coming up of like the things that we would do in a moment for our kids. We're going to look at them holistically and like, what if something's bothering them in this area? Like, what can we tweak in the environment and here and there? But then when it
Yeah.
comes to us, we're like, I don't have time. I need the quick
Yeah.
fix or the band-aid or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I don't think, like, well, I think before you're a mom, you think that things might come easier in this realm of weight loss or habit forming or going to the gym, because you have more time for yourself. But once you have kids, like, that time is taken away, and we have to create the time. And a lot of the time, as busy moms, we go, it's too hard, we can't do this, I don't have time. But when you have someone to help you and to help you understand that this is normal, you're not going to get less busy. Time isn't just suddenly going to appear. And when
right.
you do have more time, your kids are going to be out of the house, right? And
Right.
then it's like you've wasted all this time. But it's working with you where you're at and tweaking little things, like you were saying, along the way. And you know what? If you go, okay, for the next 2 months, this is working for me, but then I'm increasing my work hours, or my kids are, not sleeping through the night or whatever. You're going to go through these like ebbs and flows in life, and we have to adapt as those come, but also being really aware and honest with yourself that that is going to happen. You can't expect life to be this like perfect linear path where you're just going to keep having results day after day after day. It's like there's going to be ups and downs, and that's my jam. Like, I love working with women to be like, you are going to have obstacles, you are going to have struggles, because if you don't, you might be a robot.
Yeah.
Because we all have them, right? Like, every single day there's something that gets thrown at you, or something that's unexpected. Or I can't think of the last like 2 weeks where there hasn't been some issue with the kids, like whether it's a
Yeah.
rash or a cough or each week, I can't remember 3 nights in a row where I've slept through the night, right? So
Mm,
there's obstacles all the time. And working with so many different women with different aged children, I hear it all. And I've been through. And then I have clients that have older kids and they have other problems and obstacles. And that's just life, right? But instead of going, hey, I can't do this because this is hard, X is hard, Y is hard, you go, it's going to be hard at times, but how are we going to spot these obstacles and get over them rather than let them knock us down? And I think that's
mm-hmm.
really important for women to have that support, because we all have these obstacles, but we can
Yeah.
get through it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, and then having someone that understands and then having someone that will also hold your hand and hold you accountable in that
Yeah.
space is helpful. So, what is the biggest obstacle that you're hearing from women and moms? Is it time? Is it something else?
100%
'Cause-
time. I'm too
Yeah.
busy. I'm too busy. I'm too
Mhm.
busy. But I love the saying, like, you want something done, you give it to somebody that's busy. Like, and honestly,
Yeah.
moms are amazing. I think the biggest problem though that women face is that they say they don't have time, but that's an excuse, because
Mm,
nobody has time. It doesn't just
right.
appear. We have to make that time. And it really comes down to just managing your schedule and not waking up each day going, what am I going to do today? It's thinking the day before, what do I need to do tomorrow? I was just saying to my
Hmm.
client today, she was feeling a bit stuck, and I said, don't don't wake up going, what am I doing today? Should I do that workout? Think today what your future self needs. What does she need tomorrow, right? Are you going to do a bit of meal planning? Are you going to go for a walk? Are you going to lay out your gym clothes? Like, having that forward insight and not beating yourself up if today is a write off. It's going, okay, well, what can I do for tomorrow? And really
Mm,
getting ahead, because that's what it is being ahead, not in the moment. Like, I love being in the moment, but you know what I mean? Like, in the moment of planning. You can't just wake up and expect things to happen, because guaranteed last night you didn't sleep through the night. Your kid was up earlier than expected. You're trying to get out the door. Like, there's just
yeah.
all of these things each day. But if we can get ahead of that and go, okay, what can I absolutely do that's going to set me up for tomorrow? And it might just be one thing, but
Yeah.
that one thing is going to add up and add up and add up and add up.
Mm, I needed this reminder. And this is what so many of these conversations, I feel like I'm being gifted with exactly what I need to hear. Like, I hope the audience enjoys this, but Shannon's getting what Shannon needs from this.
Yeah.
Because I used to do yoga in the mornings, like no problem. Like started the year off really, really strong. And I can't get out of bed the last month. I'm like, nah, I'm going to hit snooze. But then I looked back as you're talking about this, I'm like, oh yeah, the night before I used to pick a yoga video, pre-select one. I had it written down. This is the one you're going to do. I had my clothes laid out. My mat was laid out next to my bed. So all I had to do was like roll out of bed, put
Yeah.
something, easier to move in on, and then turn on the TV and go. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it really is just about making your life as easiest as possible in any way, shape, or form. I have this thing with my clients I call like the hour of power, and it's like the
Mm,
non-religious hour of power. It's everything you do the night before that is going to help your morning self, right? So a lot of people say, I'm not a morning person, but that's an excuse again, right? They go, I'm not a morning person. Well, no, I don't really know anyone that is. I was never a morning person until I forced myself to be, and then I saw all the benefits. So instead of,
yeah.
when your alarm goes off, going, oh, my bed is so comfy, or it's cold outside, or it's dark outside. You think of it, that's all the negative things that are happening, right? You
Hmm.
have to think of what's going to benefit you, because of course you're going to stay in bed if you think of all the the cozy bed and how warm it is and how
Yeah.
cold it is and dark it is outside. Like, why would you want to get up? But if you think, okay, if I get up now, I'm going to have an hour to myself before my kids wake up. I am going to sit in peace, because even just talking about your sister-in-law that homeschools, like, she wouldn't have a lot of time to herself, so she probably has to find that time, because it doesn't just
Yeah.
appear.
Right.
And so just going back to the hour of power is everything that you can do the night before that's going to set you up for the next day. So for example, if I'm doing a 5:15 gym class, I'm getting up at 4:30 so I can have my coffee, but I'm tired. Like, I'm just like, my eyes are closed. I'm like walking down the hallway. I have my coffee cup sitting there waiting for me. So all I have to do is press a button. The water is
Yeah.
filled up. Everything is done. I'm not doing all those little bits and pieces. I'm just doing the absolute minimum. My gym clothes are laid out. my sports bra is there. It's in the order I'm putting my clothes on, so I'm not,
Yeah.
fumbling in the dark. It's everything is laid out for me. And even, you could go as far as when my kids were little and they couldn't get their own toothpaste, I would put the toothpaste on the toothbrush the night before
Yeah.
and lay it out. So that was one less thing that I had to do when I'm trying to get 3 kids out the door. So it's just
Mm.
those little things, but it's thinking, okay, doing every step of the morning and going, what could I possibly do? And it's amazing how much you can actually do and how much time is saved by doing just those little things that
Yeah.
in your mind you're thinking, oh, it's just toothpaste or it's just my gym clothes. But all those justs, those add up. And those are
Oh
minutes,
yeah.
right? Those are extra
Yeah.
minutes that you can have. Yeah, it's really just thinking of your future self and really getting ahead of where you are today and thinking of her tomorrow.
Oh, I really love that. I feel like the opposite. I used to like when I was working at my previous job, I feel like I was doing the complete opposite of that. I was like, that's Shannon of tomorrow's problem, or that's Monday Shannon's problem. And it was like, screw her,
Yeah.
she'll figure it out.
But
Yeah.
the thing is that Shannon's problems are going to compile tomorrow because when you have children, there are always things that happen,
Yeah.
and
Yes,
yeah,
I know.
it's yeah, it's a fine balance. Like right now, my kids are at the age where they are becoming more independent. Like my oldest are 8 and 6. So
Yeah.
I've stopped laying out their school that we wear uniforms here in Australia to school. So I've stopped laying out their uniforms because I'm trying to teach them a little bit more independence. And that's one thing they can do now. Whereas before, it would be so stressful for me because it'd be like, I can't find my shorts. I put my shorts on
Mm,
backwards. I can't do this up. Like it was more work for me to teach them that then, but now they can do it. And I'm saying, nope, okay. And even packing their lunches. So I have it, their lunch is ready, but that's one of their jobs, take the lunch kit out, put the freezer pack in, put everything back in, put it in your backpack. But I have
hmm
their backpacks ready to go and their lunch is stacked in the fridge where they can reach them. Right. So it's just those little
hmm
things that really help you for the next day.
I love though how you're handing off the responsibility to the kids that they're ready, they're mature enough to handle it, but it doesn't have to be your thing anymore. Plus you have a third one who I'm
Yeah.
sure needs help. So
Yeah.
yeah, so smart. So
It really
smart.
is. Like, and I think a lot of moms, they end up doing too much for their kids and
Yes.
they don't teach them that independence. And kids are very capable. You know what I mean? Like if you said, hey, we're
Yeah.
going to Disneyland tomorrow, guess how fast they'd get ready? Like
Right.
it it's just what's important to them, right? And
Yeah.
every term in school, I try to implement a new job. Do you want to say job? Like just something that they can do that doesn't require me, because the less I'm doing for them, it's a win-win, right? The more
Yeah.
time I'm going to have in the morning and the more independence they're going to have.
Mm.
And I always think, I'm like, I'm raising 3 boys. One day, they might have girlfriends or wives, and I don't want them to be like, mother-in-law, what have you done? I want them to
Yes.
have that independence, and I want them to be able to, put their clothes away or put their clothes in the laundry basket, like just little things like that. I need to raise strong boys.
I'm laughing because I choked. I'm just envisioning your boys as grown men and what they won't be, but versus what they could be. Yes, yes, I can resonate with a lot of that. And some of the things that you may have to let go of by passing along some responsibilities to your kids. For example, my daughter, she's very, very particular about the way her clothes feel. And it
Oh
used to be
yeah.
such a battle. And, there's some sensory things going on there that we've been working through. But I finally realized if I just give her the power to go get dressed, whatever she comes up in is fine. As long as it's clean, it's fine. If it's wrinkled because it fell on the floor in her closet, fine. If it's the worst matching combination in the history of the world, fine. It doesn't matter. She got herself dressed. She saved me 10 minutes. She's happy. Let's move forward. So
Yeah,
just
choosing your battles.
releasing. Yeah,
Choosing your
for
battles. And
sure.
and that's one thing that motherhood has taught me is just choose your battles, be patient, and you can't control everything, right?
Right.
Control what you can, let go of what you can't, and everyone will be happier.
Yeah. Yeah. I will never forget this image. She walked out of the door one day to walk down to the bus stop, and the combination of colors that she had on, like, physically hurt my eyes to look at. And I'm not exaggerating. Just like the tones of the colors together was so painful to look at. It was like, oh, these do not work at all. And I was like, okay, this is a test of my own strength. Like, let her go. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
fine.
My
Yeah.
my middle yesterday, he made cat ears out of paper and then taped them to his head with electrical tape. And he comes into my office and he's like, meow. And I'm like, we have to go to school. And he goes, I know, don't I look great? And I'm like, oh my God. And I just said, you know what? Me 5 years ago would have been like, you can't go to school like that. What are they going to think? Da-da-da. And I just said, you've got tape in your hair. And he goes, I know. And I'm like, that sounds like your teacher's problem. And I sent him off to school with
Oh
cat
my
ears and
gosh.
tape around his head.
Oh
I was
my
like, see
gosh.
ya. Yeah.
So funny. I can't tell you how many times and how many conversations I've had where I'm like 2023 Shannon is like 2017 Shannon's nightmare, you know? I'm like,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's all
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So back to moms and their struggles with, health and fitness. So obviously time is a huge issue, but what are some of the other struggles that your clients are experiencing that are hoping that you can help them work through?
Yeah, so time would be the biggest one. Obviously accountability for moms is huge. Like
Yeah.
this is something that I struggled with, and with my first, I thought I should be able to do it on my own, like not just weight loss, but just a lot of things. Like I just thought, no,
Mm,
like I have one baby, I'm not working, I'm at home, like why am I finding this hard? Like I felt like I was failing in so many ways, but it wasn't until like you just realize that babies are freaking hard. Like,
yes.
and especially your first baby is the hardest because you don't have a clue. And a lot of the time you haven't met your mom friends yet. Like for me, I came over from Canada. I was now living in Australia. My husband was working overseas month on, month off in Papua New Guinea. And I had
Wow.
this baby. I had an emergency cesarean. Like looking back now, I think, wow, like I should have given myself more grace. But you don't know any different at the time. And I always say, like, those struggles have now become my strengths, which, and
Yeah.
like in hindsight, you're like, oh my gosh, like, why didn't I see what I was going through and sought more help? But you just, hindsight's 2020. Like, you
Yeah.
don't know what you don't know. And yeah, so I had an emergency cesarean. Shannon went back to work after 5 days, like overseas, and I'm now left with a screaming newborn and a cesarean. So I was like,
Mm,
"No, I'm fine. Like it's surgery. Like I'll be fine."
mm.
But Jackson, my oldest, had colic, and he was like a nightmare baby. Like he would only sleep sitting up and had to be like rocked. I struggled breastfeeding, like all of the things, right? Probably because I was so
Yeah.
stressed out, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, so that was a major issue for me. Like I didn't seek accountability or support because I had this in my head
Mm,
that I could do it on my own. And then after my second, I was like, you know what? Actually, this is exponentially harder. Like I need to ask for help to get my own health and fitness back on track. And I think back then, well, still now, but when you're a mom, you put so much emphasis on being a mom, you lose yourself. And I was starting to feel like I was just like fading away into the background, and my husband was working away, and I'm still taking care of these two kids. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like there's got to be more. Like, and I loved being a mom, but I just thought there's got to be more. Like, I need me back.
yes.
And so I did seek help, and that's when everything did change for me. And I was like, holy shit, like accountability is the missing link for so many women. And
Mm,
this is my message to women, is that it's not weak to ask for help, because
right.
we can't do this on our own. And a lot of the time we're thinking, oh, it's so selfish to put myself first and get healthy and get fit. And we have this like stigma around health and fitness, I think, but it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I'm gonna, get shredded and be in a bikini and, only focus on me, and my kids are just gonna have to watch me go through this process. It's not about that. It's just about feeling better, because when you start to feel better, you show up for your family 110%. But
Hmm.
it starts with creating that time, just being really honest with yourself, going, hey, I do have the time. Like the busiest CEOs find time for health and fitness because they know by being healthy and fit, they do better in their career, right? Everything
Hmm.
gets better when you start taking care of yourself, and you have more clarity. It's mental health as well. Like for
Yeah.
women, mental health is so important. And changing your mindset around the health and fitness. So yes, I'd say time, accountability, but also a lot of women just have the lack of understanding. They're like, well, I feel like I don't eat very much. Why can't I lose the weight? And it's like, well, you might not be eating a lot of volume, but when you're busy and tired, you're reaching for those like quick energy hits, right? You might be
Yeah.
grabbing like a handful of nuts a few times a day. Like that's super high calories. Or you might be just eating like granola bars because that's so easy to grab in the car and go, and you're not putting any thought into what you're putting in your body. And as a result, like you're just your nutrition's gone down, you're feeling low energy because you're not actually fueling your body for what it needs. And because you're time poor, you're not putting time into nutrition. So it's just the whole like essentially this hamster wheel of like not knowing what to do, then grabbing things, then being tired and just not getting ahead.
Yes.
Like you're always feeling like you're like one step forward, two steps back. And that
Yes.
can be really frustrating. And so I think just having the understanding around nutrition and the fact that food is not the enemy. Like I
Hmm.
think our generation especially grew up with like super skinny models, and food was, what was who said, was it not Kate Moss who said nothing tastes as good as skinny
The
feels?
skinny
Who was
feels. I think it was her actually.
it? Kate Moss.
Maybe I saw it misquoted, but I feel like very recently I saw that. And I remember myself saying that, like when I was like at my fittest, like before my wedding, I remember like not saying it to, everybody, but I remember saying that out loud. And I look back, I'm like, are you a monster?
Yeah. And I
Oh,
think a lot
yeah.
of the time too, like when women, like we have so much going on in our life, and it's like if you feel out of control with like the kids and the house and everything, it's the one thing that you can control. People take it too far.
Mm,
And so it's understanding what your body actually needs. And we need calories, like we need food. But
yeah.
if we don't understand how much we're actually consuming, it can be really confusing and frustrating because the woman that's just basically living off of granola bars and a handful of nuts and the leftovers on her kid's plate, or cutting off the crust of a sandwich and just that's her fuel, like she's going to
Yeah.
feel tired, she's going to feel frustrated, she's going to feel like she's just like the scraps, right?
Yeah.
And it's a vicious cycle to be in. That's the word I'm looking for. Vicious
Yeah.
cycle, not hamster
Yeah.
wheel.
Feels like a hamster wheel too, though,
Yeah.
so that you can't get off. I'm the hamster who, your little foot gets stuck and they're just spinning. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and I mean we all feel like that at times, but it's just having the tools and the strategies to get out of that funk, and just having
Mm,
someone go, you know what, hey, you're not alone in this, and what you're going through right now is completely normal. We've all been there.
yeah.
But it's not getting stuck in that cycle, not getting stuck and going, I don't have time, this is all too hard. Like you can get out of that, you just need the right approach. And it's the whole like it's losing that all or nothing mentality and
Yeah.
not comparing your life to someone else's, even though you might
Mhm.
look the same, you might have the same number of kids even, but it's different. Everybody is so different, and you have
Yeah.
to work with your strengths and what you have going, and be able to adapt and keep moving forward and adjust.
I love all of this. I think it's so important to honor your body, honor your journey, honor your experience, and give yourself the grace that you deserve. Like, so what? You're not where you thought you would be, or you never thought you'd get to this point, your body shape, size, weight, whatever. So what? So what?
Yeah.
Like, let it be okay. And if you feel so inclined to move forward in a more healthy direction, then do that. And I have found in my life when I grab, especially since having children, if I really like reach and grab onto one area that I want to take better control of, the other pieces that feel really frazzled or maybe a little more out of my control, like those start to kind of tune into place, like a more cohesive experience overall. If I grab this area and I start focusing here and cleaning this up, the other areas start to kind of follow suit. And I don't know
Yeah.
why that is, but it does work that way. It's like the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Yeah, totally. And it's because when you feel like you're succeeding and you're enjoying the process, it's like, oh, hang on a minute, like everything else does come together. But like the whole fit mom method approach is not that this has to be done or that has to be done. Just like, other diets are like, just cut out carbs or just cut out sugar. That's great. And that might work for some people. But for the vast majority of women, they're like, hey, I like carbs. I like
Yeah.
sugar. And telling someone they can't have something, that just makes them want it more and it puts it on a pedestal. And also it's not realistic, right? You probably can't keep that up forever. And if
Right.
you're going into something thinking that oh, when's the end date, you're doing the wrong thing, because you might
Mm.
lose that weight initially, or you might start to feel better initially, but if you can't keep that up, it's it's never going to work, right? Or you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
miserable trying. So it really
Mm-hmm.
is, it's not just one thing, it's the habits, it's the mindset, it's doing an exercise that you love to do, it's making time for yourself, but not going crazy in every area, but just doing
Yeah.
what you need to do in each area. And it's, you know what, it's not even every day. You might not exercise every day, you might not go for a walk every day, you might not drink enough water every day, but it's what you do most of the time, not some of the time, that's going to get you your results. And I think too, just being busy moms, it's going to take us longer than somebody that, you know, is working one job at 20 years old with no kids, and they can come home
Right.
and they have hours to themselves after
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
It's different, and that's okay, but we're so blessed and lucky to have children. This is our life, and we have to be able to work with it. And yeah, that's why I love what I do, because every mom is so different. Everyone's on a different journey. Everyone has different goals. Some people just want to be able to sleep better. Some just
Mm.
want someone to check in with because they don't have a circle of friends or a community that they can call on. Like, I had one client, she was in such a remote area, and she was like, basically, like, I don't even have a gym I can go to. And
Oh,
so feeling like she can't connect with other women is really hard. But
yeah.
because this is online, like, you're in Detroit, I'm in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all around the world, but you can feel like you can have that person
Yeah.
and have that accountability. And that is what women need.
Yeah, community is so important. And I've been very fortunate to have found my way into some really amazing containers this year. And I have made some friends from all over. I was telling you, I've met a lot of women from Vancouver, and people who've become my friends, and I've never met them in person. People I
Yeah.
call my friends now and I reach out to them and we chat regularly. And it's like, yes, like just because you don't have somebody geographically situated near you, you
Mm.
can still have that support. And thank God for it. It makes all of it so much less isolating. And I'm glad you said everything. I was going to ask, like, what is like the biggest area that people come to you for? And you've said some different things. But do you find that women come to you with one thing in mind, and then through the process, they're like, actually, I'm happy now that I've arrived here?
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot becomes uncovered on the journey. And
Mm,
a lot of women, I'd say 75% come to me and say, I want to lose weight, but they just think it's going to be, they have the accountability and they're like, okay, you've worked out my calories and my macros for me, I'm going to follow this, and then, I'm going to lose the weight. But what they don't realize is, on the journey, it's so much more about, here's your calories, here's your exercise plan, see ya. Like, it's
yeah.
learning the habits that you need to do each and every day. And I always say, like, my program isn't sexy, like, it's just the basics of what you need to know, with the accountability, the education, the support along the way. And this is why my clients have lasting results, is because they're like, oh my gosh, like, this is what I wasn't doing before. Like, anyone can work out their calories on the internet. You know what I mean? Like, anyone can look that up, but it's understanding that your mindset and the habits that you implement every single day are going those are going to be the game changers for you. And those are going to be the things that keep you going, even when you have a shit day, even when you have a shit
Mm-hmm.
week, like all of
Yeah.
those times in motherhood where you're like, oh my God, I hate this, I can't do this anymore. Those little habits and the mindset hacks and tricks, those are going to keep you going. And also too, it's just understanding that weight loss, fat loss is not linear. There's going to be ups and downs. And if you think you're coming into something and doing some, 4-week shred where you're going to lose 15 pounds or whatever you go
Yeah.
in thinking, that's cool. That shred might get you those results, but you won't keep them, because you don't understand calories and where they're coming from. You haven't implemented the habits that are going to keep you doing what you're doing. Your mindset is thinking all or nothing. And so
Yeah.
shifting that and being able to, like, go with the ebbs and flows, that's what's going to get you those lasting results, mixed in with a community of women that are on the same journey, having a really realistic approach, having like, I'm very realistic because I have 3 kids. I'm a busy mom. I'm trying to just, get through each day as well. And so having that approach and just knowing that other people are there with you on the same journey, all different women, but essentially we're still
Yeah.
mothers, right? Like, that's the common
Yeah.
denominator. We're still going through it. That's where it all ties in together. But I think the biggest thing is understanding why. So why am I on these calories? Why am I showing up each day? What is my why? So, and it's going to be different for
Mm.
each woman. And a few of my clients, it's so touching because they say, I just want to be in a bathing suit with my kids. I don't want to be embarrassed to be in a bathing suit. And here in Australia, it's hot, right? Like, it's hot all the
Yeah.
time. So I can understand, because I came over to Australia and I gained all this weight. But when I was in Canada, like, we'd be in a bathing suit, what, maybe 4 weeks out of the year, like,
Yeah.
unless you went to Mexico or did something, like went away on a holiday. But everyone lived for summer. And that's another thing too, is like that whole shred mentality of like, let's shred for summer. And then you put your jeans on come fall and then no one can see your body.
Yep.
And it's this vicious cycle again where you like gain all this weight over Christmas and New Year's, and then it's like, oh, was that a cherry blossom? Let's shred. And it's that vicious
Yeah.
cycle. Whereas here, and so that was my mentality back in the day. And then I came to Australia and I was like, oh, I have to wear shorts like all year round. And
Mm.
I hated the way my body looked. And just a bit of a backstory, when I first came here, the visa that I was on, I wasn't allowed to work. So I could volunteer, but I had no kids. My husband worked crazy hours. I was like Susie Homemaker. So I just cooked
Oh.
and I baked. And I gained all of this weight. And then that
Mm.
spiraled into like an unhealthy relationship with food and binge eating, and me not loving myself and
Mm.
projecting onto my husband. And anyway, we've worked through that. Like, that was 12 years ago. But this is where it's come from. And so being in Australia now and understanding, okay, I don't want to shred anymore. I just want to be
Mm.
healthy all year round and be able to just throw on a bathing suit and run around with my kids. Or, not that I love running around in a bathing suit, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not hiding myself anymore. And the clients that have said this to me, they're like, I put a bathing suit on for the first time and sat on the beach and played with my kids and I felt present. I was like, oh my gosh. I had another
Yeah.
client, she said that she was in a family photo for the first time because she didn't care about being in the photo. I was like,
Mm.
like, those moments mean more to me than anything. Like, someone can say,
Yeah.
oh, I want to lose 5-10 kilos, so like 10-20 pounds. And I'm like, that's great, but why? What is that going to do for your life other than change the scale that nobody can see
Mm.
anyway? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why is this going to bring joy to your life? Because if you can't lean into those moments of why, that, intrinsic motivation, well, I get to play with my kids. I actually have more energy to play with my kids. I can keep up with my kids. I can jump in the pool with my kids. Like, those are those why moments that I dig deep for. But they
Yeah.
come to me and they're like, I want to lose 5 or 10 kilos. I'm like, cool, but why? And how I'm going to get you there is understanding those habits and the mindset around all of this. So it is a journey, but it's pretty special.
And as women, we're so hard on ourselves. And, the things that and this is another thing that I was telling you about Tina, the boudoir photographer, she said, we're zoomed in on one part of us, like people would have no idea that you're obsessed with your cellulite and you're obsessed with the way, your arms look in tank tops because you don't feel good about it and whatever. And it's like, yeah, like zoom out. Let's zoom
Mhm.
out. There's so much more to look at here. That's what she says. Like, zoom out. The big picture is so beautiful. But I think that's so good that you're really digging into that why, because one, it keeps you focused on the ultimate reason behind it all. But two, I think it takes the pressure off of, oh, these jeans that I've had for 10 years don't fit me anymore all of a sudden. I think about this through the lens of like a mom of girls, and I feel like a super responsibility to like model more healthy behaviors because I was a teen in like the early 2000s. We were talking about, super skinny celebrities and models and what have you. And it's like, this sounds like a really healthy approach that you can model for your children, especially for your girls. If they see their mom going after their health in this holistic, healthy, obviously for your body, but like for your mind as well, kind of way versus the shred that I think so
Yeah.
many of our moms did, the shred.
Yes. And also too, like it was for me and so many women, our kids now are our purpose, right? Like we
Yeah.
obviously we need to take care of ourselves for us, but we are important, but our kids are so important, and how they see us is going to shape how they become. So like
Yeah.
this morning, for example, like, and this is another part of like motherhood that has completely changed me. Before, if I wasn't going to have the perfect workout, I just wouldn't do it. I was
Mm,
like, well, what's the point if I'm not going to get everything I want out of it? What is the point of doing this workout? So this morning, I'm in our home gym. I'm doing my workout. My 3-year-old comes in. He's like whipping his blanket around. And I'm just like, can you just move over a little bit? I'm looking over my shoulder. Like I'm not as focused. I'm cutting reps out because he's climbing under me. But
yeah.
I'm still moving. And in those moments where it's not quote unquote the perfect workout, I'm thinking, my kids are watching me be healthy, get
Yeah.
strong. And I use that opportunity to go, why do we lift weights? Why do we move our body? Why do we exercise? And I'm teaching them that it's because we need to be strong. You know, when you have to carry all those backpacks into the car, well, if you weren't strong, you couldn't do that. And just having that approach with the kids, and same goes for nutrition. Like when we're sitting there eating dinner and they're like, I don't like broccoli. I'm like, well, why do we eat it? Right? Why
Mm,
is mommy making you eat this broccoli? Right? And I do give them options and choice, but you know, they still have to eat their vegetables, whether it's one piece or they eat a whole plate of them. Doesn't matter. But why are we eating this food? Well, if we don't eat this food, we can get diseases. Well, what's a disease? And I went as far one day as showing them a picture of scurvy on a tongue. But that was
I
me.
love your style. I love it.
I'm that mom. But yeah, it really is. Kids want to know why. And I think we grow up with, you finish everything on your plate. We work so hard for this food. I don't like vegetables. We'll eat them anyway. Like that. And that's not the approach I want to have with my kids, because that got me nowhere. It created such
Right.
an unhealthy relationship with food. And I just think each generation just has the ability, hopefully, to know better and do better. And
Hmm.
going to the gym this morning and lifting those weights and not having the perfect workout, but moving my body, I still came out of that workout a happier mom, more patient mom, you know,
Yeah.
and it's a win-win. And I think
Yeah.
now as mothers, we need to go, okay, it's not all or nothing. I
Yeah.
knew I probably wasn't going to finish my workout or even have the best workout, but I did it. And I did something, and that has made me more productive today. That's made me want to eat better today. So it's just having that different mindset around what you're doing and why you're doing it.
I think that can carry over into so many areas of motherhood. It's not all or nothing. I think a lot of times when you step into motherhood, you're like, oh, well, that's just not going to be what I thought it was. Never mind. I can't do that the way I used to be able to do it. Never mind. You know, whatever it is, your workout, your career, your hobbies, your friendships, whatever. I think
Yeah.
that's so much more profound than, you may realize. I think it carries over into so many areas. And yeah, I think too, going back to, we were told you got to eat everything on your plate. And I try to look back like generationally why things were the way they were. Okay, well, my grandparents grew up during the Great Depression. So it was like, if there's any food, you're going to eat it because that's all we
Yeah.
had,
Yeah.
right? And then so my parents grew up in that. And you find yourself repeating things that your parents say, whether you mean to or want to. So I think some of that carried over. I remember my dad used to say, they'd make us eat everything on our plate. And they'd be like, there's starving children in China. And I would be like, great, send it to them, mom. Like, but there were times when they would both do that too. Like, oh, you need to eat more. You need to eat more. It just perpetuating patterns. And I think it's really important that whatever you're doing in
Mm.
your journey with your children, like looking and going, does this pattern serve us today? Like there was a
Yeah.
reason for it 100 years ago, but like, do we need to carry this forward with us?
And that's so true what you said. Like that was so true. 100 years ago, I had a friend, her grandma used to say to her, you need to eat more and get more fat on you because winter's coming.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like you're essentially like a
Wow.
fat layer. I'm like, well, we're not bears.
Right.
So, but like that was their mentality because they didn't have the food source, right? And so winter
Yeah.
would come and the frost would come and you needed to get as much in you as you could. Like, I mean, that's not even a thing. Like, I mean, what am I
Right.
going to not eat and live off my fat? Essentially, you
Right.
could to a certain extent, but yeah, that's that mentality, right? And we've evolved, but we haven't evolved that much. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even just going back to caveman days, like we've evolved, but our brain has not evolved that much.
Right.
So it's still there, and yeah, it's just kind of, retraining ourselves and our generation, and our kids generation. We're the most advanced it's ever been in everything, technology and everything.
Yeah.
And you think from the 20s to even the 90s to, well, even 2000s, not much had evolved, right,
Right.
in the world, and then all of a sudden, boom, the
Yeah.
internet, and then it was like, and now it's all this AI stuff. Like, that's just how quickly things are going, but our brain is still behind.
Yeah.
So when you think of health and fitness, like, we're still slow to come to
Yeah.
the party. So
Yeah. Yeah. And your brain's trying to keep you safe. That caveman brain is trying to keep you alive, even though the threats are not actually real. So you will repeat patterns that are not serving you without realizing it, because that's what caveman brain thinks is safe at that time.
yeah, and I
Mm,
always say to my clients, like, we need to get uncomfortable in order
yeah.
to grow, because I talk about the mean girl on us all the time. Like, I've named mine Ginger because she's like, no, you shouldn't
Oh,
do that today. You're a bit tired, or you have so much laundry to do. You probably shouldn't go for that walk, or whatever it is. Like, we're trying to keep ourselves safe, and we're keeping ourselves comfortable
yeah.
because it's uncomfortable to be uncomfortable. But that is just fear, and fear is irrational, and it's just, yeah, it's not a good place to be. But we get so stuck in that, oh, a bit too hard, oh, that's an excuse. But we need to push past that and realize that we are capable of so much more than we give ourselves credit for, and we
Mm,
have to be uncomfortable. We have to push ourselves a little bit further in order to reach that point. And a lot of the time I talk about, like, plateaus, and how we get into, like, this bit of a, like, fitness plateau or weight loss plateau, and it's like, okay, we need to push a little bit more, but we get so comfortable in that earlier stage.
there's so many ways in motherhood that we have to push through and persevere. But why is it when it comes to our own needs, we're
Right.
like, man, never mind. Never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, because we
Mm,
we don't have someone holding us accountable, right? We don't have
yeah.
anyone going, hey, Shannon, how are you today? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on with you? Like, we don't have
Yeah.
that a lot of the time, and so this is why we need to have that and seek that and just push a little bit further, and just know that you are capable. And sometimes, like, telling yourself, oh, you're capable, like, that's not enough. We need
Right.
someone else to be like, "Well, you're capable."
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you need someone else to be your cheerleader. And I think finding like an accountability buddy, even if you're not entering a container, or even if it's not for fitness, for whatever the thing is that you're trying to do, I bet you can find someone in your life, and I would say outside of your house and outside of your mom,
Yeah,
because your partner, your children, and your mom are all going to cut you slack, but someone else who loves you enough to be like, "Hey, I know you set this goal for yourself. How are you doing?
yeah,
Okay, you're not showing up today. Okay, what's your plan for tomorrow?" It's
yeah.
so powerful to have
And
someone
just
else
and
walking
being
out with you.
around like-minded women that
Yeah,
think the same way and have the same, aspirations, and go, you know what, health and fitness is a priority, and it's okay to
yeah,
have that as a priority. And hearing other women say that, it's like, okay, I can make it a priority as well, because my friend or this person I know is doing the same thing. And this is where the whole community comes in, and you feel less alone on the journey, because some of the time you might have friends that don't go to the gym, or don't, or are unhealthy, or are,
yeah.
you feel like they're, not a great influence. But it's more about finding your crew and finding people that are on this
Mm.
journey as well. And yeah, they don't have to be in your hometown.
Right. I know. I love the connections I've forged with women at like all over the world at this point. It's like, oh my gosh. And I moved to this area a couple years ago. We're not from this area originally in our home state. We're not from here. And so we don't know anybody. And I'm like, oh, I don't really have a lot of local connections, but I've formed such beautiful relationships with people that I've never actually met in person. So it's possible. It is not BS. It is so possible. I love
Isn't
that.
it funny
I
though?
love it.
Like, just like our age, we think of talking to people across the world. You just think of, like, chat rooms.
Oh my gosh.
That's where my mind goes every time I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
I have a client in this country, and I just think like chat rooms, because
Oh
that's what
my
we grew up in.
gosh.
If you talk to somebody on the internet, you were like, they were a predator.
Yes. That's so funny. You're so right. Oh my gosh.
Totally.
Yeah, very true. It has evolved quite beautifully, hasn't it? Thank
Mhm.
God. So what does your container look like? How long of a program, or is it like you kind of choose your own adventure?
Yeah. So the group coaching program, completely online. So like I only coach online. 8 weeks, and it's a group coaching program. So every single week we'll have a group Zoom. Some of my clients can't make it onto the Zoom, but it's all recorded, so I can send it to them afterwards. I write their programs as an individual, so
Mm,
I'd be writing, their calories, their macros, which just is short for macronutrients, if protein, carbs, and fat, if people aren't aware. Um, and working with them behind the scenes as well. So it is still a high touch program. Like, they have a lot of accountability 7 days a week if they choose with me, because I as I said, that is the missing link for so many women. I've had personal trainers before where I've seen them once a week, and then they don't care what you're doing for the rest of the week. And it's like, well, you can do a lot of damage in 6 days.
yeah.
Yeah. So just having somebody that's like in your corner, but also each week on the Zooms, I cover different topics, and my clients can ask me questions or send in questions that I address in the Zoom. So we cover everything from, habits and mindset, organization, your menstrual cycle,
Mm,
gut health, like so many different topics that all come together and help you in so many different ways. So that runs for 8 weeks, but then they can stay on month to month afterwards. And I have some clients that have been with me for almost 3 years. So it's
yeah.
having that accountability and somebody to update your training program. So you open my app and it's there. You can work out at home or in the gym. Like I said, that client that didn't have gym access, everything was done at home. I have some clients that are like, I have one set of dumbbells. What can we do? And it's
Mm,
just it's just working with you as an individual to get
yeah.
you the best results for you. Some clients are like, you know what, I don't want to lift weights. I just want to focus on walking, but I need someone to check in with me and make sure that I am showing up, or have someone to message in the morning, be like, hey, I just did that walk. One of my clients this morning said, hey, I just did a 6 kilometer walk. Like, yay. I'm like, go you. That's
Yeah.
amazing. But just knowing that someone cares about what you're doing. So
Mm,
yeah, that is, and like I said, I've struggled before, so I organically grew this program. And when I first started, it was really just like calories and macros and exercise. Like, I am certified personal trainer as well. So it was like I was focused on training, but then it was like, hang on a minute, there's so much more to sustainable weight loss than just your calories and just exercise. And some people come to me, they're like, I need to exercise more. I'm like, no, like, you need to
mm,
understand nutrition so you can understand what your body requires. And
wow.
yeah, and it's with the habits and the mindset, that is a huge component of my program, because without that, you won't keep it up.
Right. This sounds so amazing. This is how I feel now that I'm a mom. I'm like, I just need somebody just to show me or like package it and have it all but done for me. Like this, something like this is what someone like me totally
Yeah.
needs because I don't want to take the time to figure the things out. Like just somebody tell me what I have to do because I'm
Yeah.
too busy chasing the little maniacs around, my house and all the things that go with that. So I
Yeah,
love
and that's the
that.
thing. Sometimes women, they do know what to do, and they're like, I know what I need to do. Or they're like, I know my calories because I've worked them up, but I actually can't stick to this because I don't have plans in place. I have no consistency. I have no one to check in with. And so it is really a mixed bag with the clients that come to me. Some are just like, listen, I'm happy with my body weight. I'm happy with where I'm at, but I know that I'm not exercising, and I know I need somebody to check in with in
Yeah.
order to get to the gym or work out at home. And that is what I love about this, because it's everyone's so different. Everyone has different
Yeah.
goals, and I'm not setting your goal for you. you
Yeah.
you come to me with, hey, this is what I want, and like I said, we uncover a lot in the process. But a lot of the time, I'm not going, okay, you're going to now work out 4 days a week, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. It's not about that. It's about you telling me realistically what you can actually do. And you might go, hey, I've never worked out before, or I haven't worked out for 2 years since I've had my child, and now I want to get back into the gym. I'm going to go to the gym 4 days a week. And I go, you haven't been going at all. How are you now going to
Mm,
go 4 days a week? Right? Let's maybe start
yeah.
with two and look at your schedule. Sit down with your partner or your hubby and go realistically, when can I go? When can I block out that hour for myself that no one else is going to interfere with?
Yeah.
And if you're working at home, maybe it is 5:30 in the morning for half an hour just to get it done. Because once again, time doesn't appear. You're not going to wake up at 7 and go, oh, maybe at 9 I'll do that workout. You have to
Mm,
know when it's realistically going to happen, and you make that appointment with yourself, because life is busy. Like, life is hectically busy. And if
yeah.
we don't carve out that time for us, it won't happen.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the problem for a lot of women, is they don't look at their schedule and make that time.
Yeah. And the fact that you're a mom, you get it. Like you even said, like,
Yeah.
okay, really? Like you haven't been to the gym in 3 years. Like we're going to go 4 days.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really, and
Yeah.
I can appreciate anyone in the space who wants to help a mom, but until you're a mom, you just don't know. You just don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I love when people are like, I don't know what I did with my time before I was a mom. Like, was I
Yes.
bored? Like, did I have
Right.
friends I didn't know about?
Right. Right. Like I don't remember being bored, but there was a lot more time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
totally, totally. And yeah, time is just non-existent anymore. And
Mm.
but it can be if you make it. And
Mhm.
you have to. Like, I schedule in when I'm going to wash my hair.
Yeah. Oh, I feel that. Oh gosh, I feel that to my soul. I'm like a once a week. I got a lot of hair here. I'm like a once a week girl. So it is like an event. I get it. I totally
Yeah.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Slap it on. And I love a paper planner too. So like slap it on the planner. Like it's in pen. It's not going anywhere.
You are
Because
speaking my language. Yeah.
I will be damned if I have to like cross something out, under that's my fault. Like, oh no.
I
Funny.
love that. I have a paper agenda in my kitchen. It's a day to a page, and everything goes on there that I need to get done. And another thing I was saying to the women I coach is, put on there, like, I'm looking at your plants. Here's a really great example: is the day that you're going to water your plants. And so really mapping out your time, because then you go, okay, on Thursday I water my plants in the morning. Like, that's just what I do every Thursday. And then you create that habit and that routine, and until you don't have to write it down anymore, because that's just what you do. Right? I'm sure we don't need to write in our agenda the night the bachelor's on or whatever. Like, you just know
Yeah.
that's what you do. Right? The things that are important become habit.
Hmm.
And a lot of the time we think, oh my god, I have to wash my car, I need to wash the windows, whatever, like vacuum the house, like all these things that just seem to pile up, but they don't have a space in your week. They don't have a space in your month. And that's why it feels like all these balls are in the air all the time. And as moms, we feel like we're just dropping the balls a lot of the time, because we haven't created space for the things that
Yeah.
need to get done.
That's so good what you just said. Fitness or otherwise, like first of all, getting it out of your head and on paper. But I'm fantastic about making a list and then carrying the list over to the next week and then carrying it over to the next week,
Yeah.
because I don't say, okay, you're doing this thing on Tuesday at noon. So
Yeah.
yeah, once again, I'm hearing exactly what I need to hear. If the audience gets something out of it, fantastic. But like, thank you, Shannon needs this.
And I
So
think it
true.
sounds like, when I say it out loud, I think a lot of the time it sounds quite like neurotic, but
No,
it's a process that works, and it really has worked for me and my clients, because they're just like, I didn't realize how much you had to plan ahead, how much you actually had to put thought into your week and not just wing it. And that's an absolute game changer. And just knowing that someone else is on that journey with you is like,
yeah.
it's a no-brainer.
For sure. For sure. This all sounds so good. So if someone's like, yes, absolutely, Tara, I'm in. Like, how can they find you? How do they connect with you?
First things first, my website is fitmummethod.com. You can click on, there's an application at the top, you can click on that. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, I'm Fit Mum Method, but it's MUM, not MOM.
Thank you for
Um,
saying that. Yeah.
yeah. Clients in North America and
Yeah.
Australia. Okay. Yeah, it's MUM, and there's a link in my bio. So you can just click the link in my bio, and the application's there as well. I also have a free book you can download. That's in the link in my bio as well. Otherwise, I'll send you the link and you can pop it into
Yeah.
your
We'll
show
put
notes if
it
you
all.
want.
Yeah. It'll all be in the show notes for sure. I love
Yeah.
that. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So definitely go find her. So I do like to ask all of my guests a few of the same questions. What didn't you expect motherhood to change or shake up in you?
Well, I think, yeah, patience. Like, I think really I've learned a lot of patience that I didn't even realize I had or needed. But also too, just really leaning into the process, which I never did. I was like I said before, I was very all or nothing, like strict on myself, and it's really allowed me to just relax into motherhood a
Mm,
lot more. And it has taken time. Like, it didn't happen with my first baby, or not even necessarily with my second, but like more
yeah.
as I went into it over the years, I've just realized that that's not the right mentality to have, and you have to be patient and kind with yourself, because that's the only way you're going to get ahead. It's the only way.
Yeah, such a good answer. And when you think about being a mom, you think about patience is with your children, but like you need it with yourself too. That's so important. Such a
Yeah.
beautiful answer. If you could give one piece of advice to another mother at any stage in motherhood, what would it be?
Ooh, life doesn't give you what you can't handle. Like,
Mm,
I really, truly, and my mom's always said that to me. She's like, life doesn't give you what you can't handle. And I think when we have that approach that, hey, we can get through this, it might be hard, but we're going to get through it. Let's just maybe take a step back and look at what's going on. But you can get through it. But also prioritizing yourself, like that is huge. And
yeah.
it's not selfish to put yourself first, like even just like going to the gym, or planning your meals. Like, you have to put yourself first, because when you do that, everyone else will benefit. I used to think it
Yes.
was quite selfish. I was thinking, same before, like if I'm going to the gym, if I'm eating healthy, if I'm prepping some food, everyone's going to think that I'm just caring about myself. And that was in my own head. Like,
Right.
now that I've been doing this for years, my family wouldn't have a clue. Like, they wouldn't have a clue this is
Right.
what I do. They're just like, this is just what we do. And
Right.
things just tick along, and mom's healthy and she's fit. And yeah, it's because I make time to do the things that I know that matter. Like, if I go to the gym because I become a more patient mom. When I'm a
Yes.
more patient mom, the household is more patient. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, yeah. And I'd say that's what I'd say to mothers. It's not selfish.
Mm. Everyone, I think almost, maybe not everyone, almost everyone has said something similar to this in their own way, in their own space of like, you've got to take care of yourself in whatever way that is for you and that it is not selfish. So I'm hoping that maybe once and for all, we can set down this idea that taking care of yourself in
Yeah.
motherhood is selfish, because I don't know where it came from, but we've all seemed to internalize it along the way that, baby, children, whatever come first, we come last. We
Yeah.
got to let it go.
Yeah. It really does. And I think it just comes with maturity and age as well. Like,
Yeah.
I would not have said that back in the day. I've been like, oh, it's all with the baby. And it
Right.
is, but that's going to happen anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you're not going to neglect your baby, I'd hope.
Right. No, you're right though. And I think it's so important to say that and for people to hear it. Like, you are going to take care of your children in the ways
Mm,
that they need to be taken care of regardless. So
mm.
show it for yourself too.
And flipping the whole, the mentality about, oh, taking care of yourself is selfish. They're watching everything you do. And if you want your
Yes.
child to grow up eating well, exercising, all of the things that we're doing, you have to model that for them.
Yeah.
That doesn't just appear. They're not going to get that from watching Bluey or whatever show on TV, right? Like, they need to see it from you, and it
Yeah.
starts with you. And so, just like this morning in the gym, when I was not having the perfect workout, I flipped that and went, you know what? My 3-year-old and then my 6-year-old came in, and they were trying to do push-ups under my feet, and I'm like, oh, this is just not happening. But they're in here doing push-ups before school. Like, not that I'm like, you need to do push-ups, but that they chose to do that,
Right.
right? And my middle, he loves like hanging off the pull-up bars and pulling himself up, and he finds that fun. But I'm pretty sure that maybe he would have just learned to do that. But if he didn't see that since he was born, it wouldn't be in his world. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, habits can go both ways, right? If they see negative habits,
Yes.
they're going to adopt those. If they see positive
Yeah.
habits, they're going to adopt those. And I just think as mothers, we need to just go, you know what? Even if it's not about me in this workout, it's about them. They're seeing it. They're part of it. And
Mm,
we're
yeah.
their educators. Yeah.
That's a beautiful reframe when things are not going the way that you had hoped. And, we can tell them till we're blue in the face that this is what they should be doing. But if we're not doing what we're saying, that's what they're catching. Is like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need to eat our vegetables, but instead we're sitting on the couch eating ice cream every night. Like, okay, all right, got it. Message received.
Yeah. And even just talking to them about certain things, like, I'm very honest with my kids about, today mommy is feeling really cranky. I'm feeling cranky and
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's not you, it's me. I'm feeling cranky
Yes.
today because you know what? I haven't worked out in 2 days. That's probably why mommy's feeling a bit cranky because I haven't moved my body the way I should. And so it's helping them understand that, hey, mommy's not just being cranky, but why? Once again, why? Why is mommy being impatient and cranky? It's not about them, but
Yeah.
that their behavior isn't any different than any other day, but I'm taking it's triggering me because I haven't done what I should be doing to take care of myself to be a better mom and respond
Yeah.
better rather than react. And that's been
Yeah.
a huge thing. And it's a work in progress. Like I'm not perfect
Of
every
course.
day. I definitely react sometimes, but it's way less than I used to. So yeah.
Totally feel that. But I think it's good too that you're like, even just in the I'm feeling this way, like acknowledging and naming your feelings in front of them and saying, this is not a you problem. This is a me problem. And I have the tools to fix it. I just need to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just give mommy 10 minutes.
Yeah, like let me go in the other room. I will be back. And I've said that to my kid before too. I'm like, I need a minute. Like let's
Mm.
let's go our separate ways and come back and regroup. And I don't think that that's damaging at all. Like
Oh god.
showing and modeling that people need space sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really
Hmm.
big on saying, you know what, I just need to move away from you children and do my breaths. Like I need to go
Yeah.
and just do some breaths because when I take a breath, and I know it sounds a bit like woo woo, but it's so
No.
true.
Oh,
Like
I'm woo woo. Let's bring it. Yeah.
when you breathe through it, you can handle it. And
Yeah.
kids get so worked up a lot of the time. So it's teaching them that, hey, I need to remove myself from this situation and
Yes.
do my breaths and come back when I'm ready. But you have to
Yes.
allow me that space, just
Yeah.
like I'm going to allow you that space to do your breaths. And,
Yeah.
2 minutes later, we're all happy again because we've
Yeah.
had that breather.
Yeah. Oh, the breath is so important. Yeah. No, we're full woo over here. So I totally embrace and appreciate that for sure. Okay. So I know you're big into fitness. Are there any other ways that you reconnect to yourself in motherhood?
Yes. I just think having goals for yourself in general, like just having
Oh,
small goals, whether it's daily or weekly or whatever it is, like, things can fall away. Is habit formed as I can be, I still things still slip up, right? Like I'm like, oh, it's winter. I'm definitely not drinking as much water as I should. Okay, so how can I get back to that? So just knowing that I'm doing something in the sense of like water, I fill up my water bottle the whole,
hmm
2.2 liters, and I need to get through that in a day. Sometimes I go, you know what, I've drank half of that and it's now bedtime. Like that's something I want to work on tomorrow. But just like that reconnects me is working on myself in some little way, because as a busy mom, if you don't check in with yourself with hey, why do I feel this way, what's not working, what is working, so many things can end up slipping away and we don't
Yeah.
realize it until we're like in a tizzy or we feel completely frazzled. And it's just connecting, like you said, reconnecting with yourself, going, okay, what has been lacking, like what haven't I been doing that normally fuels my fire? And sometimes it's like walking. Like
Yeah.
and it's funny that you said that because I was actually thinking that this morning. We've come out of school holidays. My mom's over here from Vancouver. It's like I haven't been going for walks with my girlfriends in the morning, and we leave at like 5:15 in the morning, stupid o'clock in the morning, but it's the only time that we can go. And I've felt a bit disconnected because I haven't been making an effort to do that. So that's
Yeah.
something I'm going to work on next week, is I'm going to get back into that. That's how I'm going to reconnect to me as a mother, going for a walk without my children, without my
Yeah.
family, with my friends.
Yeah.
So it's just finding those things that light you up again. And it can be as simple as going, hey, I'm just now drinking enough water this week. Or it's socially, or it's emotionally, or it's, personal development, whatever.
Yeah.
It's gonna be different all the time. And I think it can be different each week, can be different each day.
I love that. Oh, I love the idea of goal setting, but the follow through isn't always fantastic. But that's so great. Just something to work toward in, the hustle and bustle of every day, that there is something for you that you're working
Yeah.
towards each day. I love that. No, and I love that you said stupid o'clock, because I also say stupid o'clock. I've never heard anyone else say stupid o'clock before. So we are bonded. We are bonded. I have
Uh,
one final and probably the most important question.
oh, no pressure.
Is Bluey as popular with Australian parents as it is with American parents?
100%. Yes. Yeah.
When you said Bluey, I had to ask. I was like, well, it is the motherland of, you know, our beloved healer family.
Yeah. It's when I say filmed in Brisbane, it's created in Brisbane.
Oh my gosh.
So all the scenery is around Brisbane,
I
which
love
is pretty
that.
cool.
That's really
Yeah, my kids are
cool.
obsessed.
Okay.
It's a great show.
I love that the opportunity to ask an Australian happened because I was worried that they were like, this show is terrible. What are Americans thinking?
Oh,
This is trash.
no.
Yeah.
It's like, it is the bee's knees of
Oh
the
my
kids shows.
gosh.
It's amazing. We love it. And it's
We love it
hilarious and it
too.
sends good messages. And sometimes I'm like, gosh, I need to be more like Bluey's parents.
Oh my gosh. I know. And I've heard something that has helped me when I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so involved. Someone pointed out, okay, those episodes are what, 7, 8 minutes long? Like you can be present fully with your children for 7 or 8 minutes, you know, do a Bluey burst and then give yourself a break.
Oh my gosh, I love
Yeah.
that. That's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, for sure. Love that you love it too. And I love that, you know, it's just such a uniting force. We need more Bluey in our lives. And how many times have you watched an episode and you're like, nope, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Or like
Gosh,
the pool episode where the dad
the
forgets all of
pool,
the stuff.
the
And I was like,
everything.
I was like, there's mom again.
Oh my gosh, the motherhood load, you know, it's like the actual physical load, but the whole mental load for sure. She shows up with all the things. When they're sitting in the sun, like roasting or the
Yeah,
shade,
and the
when they're sitting
sun's
in the shade.
moving.
Yeah. I love it
Yeah.
so much. Oh my gosh. This was so fun. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for creating something that I think is so needed to hold space for moms to move forward on this journey, but in a way that's really supportive and inclusive of the motherhood experience.
No, thank you very much. No, I love it. It's me.
Yeah.
It's all come from everything that, you know, I've gone through and hearing my clients' stories and just knowing that we're not alone. I think that's the biggest message, is that a lot of the time we rely on our husbands or our friends to help us get through, but that doesn't last, and
Yeah.
everyone's busy, right? Everyone has their
Yeah.
own lives going on, and when we wait for others to help us on our own journey, we're actually doing ourselves such a disservice, because
Mm,
imagine how far you could get if you just went, you know what? I know it sounds so cliche, but I'm going to stay in my lane and I'm going to just focus on where I'm at and moving forward. Don't focus on where, you know, someone's day 100 is when it's your day
right.
one.
Right.
Completely different. And
Right.
everyone has different lives and things going on. And yeah, we're all going to have obstacles. We're all going to have struggles, but we can get through if we take a step back instead of thinking of it as a setback. If that
Oh,
makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just go, okay, we've got this, and then move forward. And the thing is,
Yeah.
the great thing about obstacles, like if I have a client that's like, oh no, everything's like perfect and they're very like type A personality and everything's going so smooth, I'm like, come on, just like I need an obstacle, because you learn from them, right?
Yeah.
And you get hit with an obstacle and then you go, you know what? That's probably going to come up again, but now I know how to handle it. Now I know how
Yeah.
to approach this. And I call it obstacle spotting. Like, think ahead in your week. Where could things go a little bit haywire and how can we preempt that? Maybe it's a social event that you're thinking, oh my gosh, I might eat and drink too much at. Like, how can we know
Mm,
that's coming? What can we do? Instead of getting to that and going, sweep that under the rug. Like, we can
mm.
look at that and go, how can we get over this and through it rather than ignoring it?
That's good. I think there's so much that you have packed in your program that can carry over into other areas of the average mom's busy life, you know, with anything. I do the obstacle spotting with my 6-year-old. I'm like, okay, what's gonna be the thing this week? You know, what's on the calendar that is gonna be a situation for us.
And we're
Value
really no
there.
different, but we often forget about us.
I think it's so important as moms, if there's an area that we need help or support in any way. I mean, even if it's just like, I cannot clean my house one more weekend. I hate it so much. If you're paying for the help in the form of a house cleaner or, you know, a coach to help you on your fitness journey or on your mindset journey or whatever, I think it's so important to invest in yourself in whatever way. I feel like when you put the money out, whatever the amount is, you're telling the world, like, I'm showing up, like it's time for me. And I think the
Yeah.
universe, we're getting woo again. I think the universe will stand and deliver when you say, okay, I go first. So I think this is a great opportunity.
Totally. And like you just said about like a house cleaner, like that's one area I resisted for so long, because I was like, I should be able to do this. I work from home. I should be able to do all of the things, right? And I was like, hang on a minute. It takes me, say, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, if I have undivided attention to my house, to clean my house top to bottom. That's just like floors and bathrooms, mind you. That's not all the extra things.
Right.
That's 3 hours out of my week that I could be putting into my clients and my business. Like, no brainer. So when you can think of it differently, it changes everything. And even I hired a business coach. I've had 2 different business coaches, and I love investing in myself because I step up to myself.
Yes.
And I went, you know what? I invest in myself, and therefore I grow. It's uncomfortable because I have to show up, right? Like, you're like, oh, I have to do the work. But if you don't do that work, you don't grow. And that's the difference. I think you can stay uncomfortable, you can stay mopping your floors and staying and hating it each week, or you can go, you know what? How is this going to benefit me? How is this going to elevate my life and give me more time? Is that more time with the kids to go and ride bikes? Is it, more time in my business? Is it more time with my partner? Like, whatever it is, think of it differently rather than, paying this money, or I should be able to do it myself. When we change that mentality, everything changes.
Yeah, I've heard the saying before, we should all over ourselves. We got to quit. We got to quit. And just think about, if you're paying someone to clean your house, you're giving them an opportunity. You're paying them for a service that they offer, that they can then take the money to invest in themselves. So do it.
And it takes the thought out of it as well. It's like they just come in and do it and they leave. And whereas, oh, now I need to pull that out. Now I need to move that. And then it just creates, and then you get distracted. That's a big thing for me. I'd start cleaning and then get distracted with something else that needed to be cleaned. And next thing you know, like, I'm spring cleaning my house on a Tuesday morning, and I'm like, I could have been working. What are you doing?
Yeah. Or I start organizing the spice rack, and also I don't cook in our family. My husband does. So like, I have no business being in there at all. I just need to sweep the floors. So I totally feel that. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I'm so glad you came on. And I'm like, I told you before we started recording this, you're one of the first 2 episodes that I've had guests come on and talk about, the body and taking care of your actual physical being. So I'm really excited to have this conversation, because all of the other stuff, the mindset stuff, the spiritual stuff, like, it's also important, but like the big picture, the whole picture, the holistic approach is also so important.
Agreed.
Yeah. So everybody follow Tara. Again, all of her info will be in the show notes. So go give her a follow, connect with her if this seems like your jam. And she's just lit up. Like, you can tell she's so passionate about this. I know you can't see her, but she is just so jazzed. So I can imagine how magical being in her container is. So definitely go check her out.
You. And I love when people message me and say, I listened to the podcast, because I love to know where you've come from. And reach out and just say hi.
Yeah, do that. Thank you, Tara, so much. And I hope to talk to you again very soon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you again, Tara. This was such a fun conversation. If you are interested in joining Tara's 8-week Fit Mom Method program, the link to the application is in the show notes. And what a great time of year. New year, new goals. Since recording, Tara has also rolled out the Productivity Power Up Your 4-Week Reset program. The productivity blueprint includes goal setting, designing your space, tailored worksheets, weekly videos with Tara, masterful day and week mapping techniques, and task streamlining secrets, plus additional bonuses. The link to that will also be in the show notes. It is only $59 Australian, which, if I'm mathing correctly, is about $40 USD. So hop on it. What a great deal. And she's such a vibe. So just being in her energy is totally worth $40. If you're still listening, thank you. So happy to have you here. So appreciate all of you. I am taking a small hiatus from social media. I'm just trying to go inward a bit and focus on where I want to go next. Don't worry, the podcast isn't going anywhere. It is so life-giving and I love it so much. So I will still be releasing episodes weekly, although I will not be posting about them on social media for the time being. I am toying with the idea of creating a container for the beginning of the year to kind of tune in and tune up and to really just check in and assess where we're at right now and where we want to go and how we can make 2024 as aligned and as expansive as possible. If this sounds interesting to you, I'm going to go ahead and drop a link to a wait list in the show notes, and it's just to kind of gauge interest. The investment fee would be very, very small and really just to get you to show up, because when things are free, we don't show. And when we have to put some skin in the game, we are more likely to show up. So information on that will be coming out soon. It's really just something that I want to do for myself as we roll into a new year. And I think it's something that others could benefit from as well. So if it sounds interesting to you, I literally just brainstormed this idea in editing this episode with Tara. I was really inspired, and yeah, that waitlist will be in the show notes for you. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe so you get notified when new episodes drop each week. It means so much and helps drive the algorithm so that others can hear about all the amazing goodness going on over here on the Having a Mom Moment podcast. And until next time, remember, please, you are so amazing. You are so loved. And in case no one else has told you, I am so proud of you.